Good morning. Already we have discussed some of the point processing techniques in continuation with the previous class. In today's class, we will try to discuss about gray level slicing. So this gray level slicing, gray levels means intensity levels. So we can also say gray level slicing is nothing but intensity level slicing. Sometimes it is necessary to highlight a specific range of intensity levels. So when we highlight a specific range of intensity levels, we can call it as a region of interest. So it is often required to enhance the region of interest ROI and suppress the other features which are present in the image. For example, if ROI appears as a bright light in the dark background, the brightness of ROI can be further increased. The darkness of the background can be further decreased. Thus, increasing the contrast. So the gray level slicing can be done in the following manner. That is, with background or without background, we can perform the gray level slicing. So we can perform the gray level slicing in two different cases. One is without background and with background. And this is the formula for without background to perform the gray level slicing. So S equal to L minus 1 when T1 less than or equal to R less than or equal to T2 and equal to 0 otherwise. And with background S equal to L minus 1 when T1 less than or equal to R less than or equal to T2 and equal to R otherwise. So these are the two transformation curves we have. These two transformation curves are called gray level transformation curves. In figure A, if you see in between AB, the intensity level is highlighted. So that is our region of interest. So we highlighted that region of interest, that is A and B. So in between A and B, we highlighted. So because it is our ROI, region of interest. Okay. So the transformation T of R highlights the intensity range AB. And what about the remaining areas other than AB? Reduces all other intensity levels to the lower value. Next, coming to the second figure, it is also our gray level transformation curve. But here, this gray level transformation is completely different because in between A and B, so in between A and B, the intensity levels are highlighted, and also the other intensity levels also preserved. Means we are preserving all other intensity levels. Here in the first case, only in between A and B we highlighted, and remaining all intensity levels we kept at low level. But here, intensity levels are goes on increasing up to A, and in between A and B highlighted. Again, now the intensity levels are goes on increasing. So we are also preserving the other intensity levels. So gray level transformations are mainly used to highlight certain area of interest in an image. Okay, this is an example. We will see how to perform this gray level slicing. Okay, this gray level slicing we can perform with background and without background. These are the two formulas we have. Without background, first we will try to see. Here, this is the image given f of x comma y. First of all, you try to recollect by the given image. We need to identify what is the value of L. Okay. So suppose if L equal to generally L will be 2 power k. So that means L equal to 2 power 1, L equal to 2 power 2, L equal to 2 power 3. Like that we need to consider. Suppose L equal to 2 power 1. L equal to 2 power 1 means only two intensity levels. The two intensity levels will be 0, 1. But here we have a values more than 1. So 1 more than 1 means 2 is there, 3 is there, 4 is there, 5 is there, 6 is there, 7 is there. So 2 power 2. Even if we take 2 power 2, total value 4. So 0 to 3. So more than 3 values are there. So what we need to take? We need to take 2 power 3. If it is 2 power 3, 2 power 3 means 8. So 8 means 0 to 7. So all intensity levels will come under the range 0 to 7. That's why capital L value is taken as a 8. So we need to identify the L value from the given image. Then only we can able to calculate the value of S. Because in both the cases, that means in without background and with background cases, we have the value of L. So once if we know the value of L, we can able to calculate the S. What is S? S is the output intensity level. Okay. And what of this? What about this small r? Small r is the input intensity level. So in the first case, without background case, let us see. This is the image, output image. How we are getting this image g of x comma y equal to 777 How we are getting this image? So from the input image f of x comma y. Let us see the first element. That means the first 7. How we are getting this first 7? The first 7 is, so if you see the T1, T2 value, T1 value is 3, T2 value is 3. So the first intensity level in f of x comma y is in between 3 and 6. If it is in between 3 and 6, that is in between T1 and T2. See the first condition. When T1 less than equal to R less than equal to T2, then what is the value? L minus 1 we need to give. So that's why 3 is in between 3 and 6. So L minus 1, that means 7. And 4. 4 is also in between 3 and 6. So output is L minus 1. L minus 1 is nothing but 7. Okay. Now coming to the last row, how we are getting 0. So without background case, S equal to L minus 1, that is 1, and equal to 0 otherwise. When it is 0, so 0 when R is not in between T1 and T2. When R is not in between T1 and T2, the value of S is 0. So we will see 1. So 1 is not in between 3 and 6. 2 not in between 3 and 6. And 2 not in between 3 and 6. That's why the last row is 0. In the similar manner, we have to calculate for the with background case also. In with background, if you see how you're getting 1, 2, 2 in last row. So this is the output image g of x comma y after performing the gray level slicing with background. Okay. So after performing the gray level slicing with background, and this is the output image. The last row values are 1, 2, 2. Okay. Now in 1, 2, 2, how we are getting this 1 in the last row? So let us see. So T1 is given as a 3, T2 is given as 6. Now according to the formula, when R is in between T1 T2, then its value is L minus 1, otherwise R only. So if you see the first intensity level 1, it is not in between T1 and T2, therefore its value is R only. That's why 1 only. 2, it is also not in between 3 and 6, so it is R only, because otherwise case is nothing but in between. If it is in between, L minus 1, otherwise R value only. So 2 is not in between 3 and 6, so 2 itself. And again, the last 2 is not in between 3 and 6, so 2 only we will get. So this is the way of getting the gray level slicing of an image. Now we can examine the what is the use of this gray level slicing. So here is an image. First image, it is erotic angiogram image, and the second image is a B. It's a result of using the slicing transformation, gray level slicing transformation of the type A, and then C, result of using slicing transform of the type B. Actually, we have two types of gray level slicing, right? This is the first type, that is highlighting only certain portion, that is the region of interest. And second one is highlighting the certain region of interest, and also we are highlighting the other intensity level. So this is the type A and the type B. So based on this, the first image is the original image, angiogram image, and when we are using the first transformation, that is highlighting only the region of interest. So here we highlighted only the region of interest, that is the main nerve, okay, main artery. So when we highlighted only the main artery, this is the first transformation case. And in the second transformation curve case, this is the second, we are highlighting the artery, and also the other backgrounds also we are highlighted. So this is the second case. So original image and the second image B is due to the first transformation function. So this is the transformation function, and second last image C is due to the this transformation function. Okay. Next, coming to the bit plane. So here in bit plane slicing, images need to be converted into bit planes. See, pixels are digital numbers, each one composed of bits. So instead of highlighting the gray level range, we could highlight the contribution made by each bit also. So for example, let us consider a 256 grayscale image. So a 256 level grayscale image comprising of 8 bits. So it is comprising of 8 bits means we can highlight the contribution made by the total image appearance by a specific bits. The most significant bits that contain the majority of the visually significant data, and the least significant bits contain a lower visual significant data. So this method is useful and used in image compression, especially bit plane sizing. You can see here is a figure. It is the bit plane representation of an 8-bit image. So an 8-bit image can be represented with 8 bit planes. You can see how we arranged these 8-bit planes. Here each bit plane represents 1 bit. For example, bit plane 0 is the least significant bit. Bit plane 7 is the most significant bit. And the most significant bit will have a significant visual information in the image. So significant visual information of the image is present in this bit plane 7, that is the most significant bit. So decomposing an image into its bit planes is useful for analyzing the relative importance of each bit in the image, a process that aids in determining the adequacy of the number of bits used to quantize the image. So in bit plane slicing, bit transformation leads to the transformation of the image. That means in bit plane, simply if we change the bit of an image of a pixel, if we change the bit of the pixel, then the image will be transformed into another image. So bit plane slicing, bit transformation leads to the transformation of image. If we transform the bits, the image also transforms. For example, you can see this is the image given. Okay, in this image we have it is a 3x3 image, and the pixel values are 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 0 are the pixel values. Now we will try to represent the equivalent binary image for this in binary form. That is 111, 00. This 111 is for 7, 110 is for 6, and for 5, 101. So we represented in binary form. Now we will just simply change the lower, that is LSB bit. Okay. So least significant bit to the 0. All least significant bits we will try to make them to the 0. If you make them to the 0, see in 111, so we will make the least significant bit as a 0. So it will be 110. In 110, we will make it as a 110 only, because least significant bit is already 0, so no need to change anything. And in 101, the least significant bit is 1, so we will change it as a 100. So if we change the LSB, see how the image is changed. The image is changed into 664 and 422000. But actually the image is 465 432110. So bit transformation leads to transformation of an image. Next, coming to the histogram. So it is the most important topic. Okay. So histogram is represented with a small h. Okay. So histogram h of an image represents the frequency with which the different gray levels occurs. The frequency with which the different gray levels occur. See, this is the image given. So you try to observe the figures. So first we have a image. So why I am saying it is the image? It is represented. All pixel values are represented in the form of matrix of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4x4 matrix. Okay. So 4 rows, 4 columns. The pixel values are arranged. These are the intensity values. Okay. So if you see the intensity value 0, how many number of times that the 0 occur means only one time occur. Okay. So we represented here on the graph. So 0 is occurred only one time. Next, coming to the 2. 2, how many number of times that the 2 occur in the given image means 2 is occurring 3 times. So 1, 2, 3, 3 times. And 1, how many number of times that the 1 intensity level occur means 1, only once. Next, coming to the 3, how many times that the intensity level or the pixel value 3 occurs means that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 number of times. Similarly 4 occurs only once. 5 will be 2 times, and 6 will be 1 time, and 7 is 2 times. So what is histogram? You can see this is the graph. Okay, this is the graph. Now the graphical representation of occurrence of the pixels we can say as a histogram. Okay, so this figure is on x-axis we are taking the pixel occurrence. How many number of times that the pixels are occurring. On x-axis we are taking the pixels. means intensity levels. So how many number of times these intensity levels occurs? Means 0 is the one of the intensity level which is present in the image. How many times it is present in the image? One time. One is the one of the intensity level in the image. How many times that the image, how many times that the intensity level present in the image is one time. 2 is another intensity level which is present in the image. How many times that the 2 occur in the image means 3 times. So like that we can plot a histogram of any image. So what is the definition of a histogram? Pixel occurrence with respect to the intensity level is nothing but a histogram, or we can say that the graphical representation of occurrence of the pixels we can call as a histogram. So histogram will gives you the probability of occurrence of the pixels. Now let us try to define what is the histogram of a image. So let us consider the histogram of the digital image with intensity levels in the range 0 to L minus 1 is a discrete function and is given by h of rk, which is equal to nk, where rk is the kth intensity value and nk is the number of pixels in the image with kth intensity value rk. Okay, so that means from this equation what we can understand, h of rk equal to nk means h of rk, how many number of times that the rk occurs, that is nk. Okay, so in common practice, it is a common practice of normalizing the histogram. Okay, so now how to normalize the histogram? Simple. So in order to normalize the histogram, we need to divide nk with mn. What is this mn? M number of rows and m number of columns of an image. So h of rk equal to nk. If we divide this h of rk by mn, it will be known as a histogram normalized. So the normalized histogram is represented with p of rk. Again, you can see p of rk equal to nk by mn. Okay, so here p of rk indicates the probability of occurrence of the intensity level rk. Okay, the probability of occurrence of intensity level rk. The sum of all components of a normalized histogram is equal to 0. Once the histogram is normalized, if you compute the sum of all components which are present in the histogram, then the sum will be equal to unity. That is the condition that is satisfied by the normalized histogram. Now here you can see 4 different images are there. Okay, the first image is the dark image, and second image is a bright image, and the third image is a low contrast image, and the last image is a very high contrast image. So why I'm considering these 4 different types of images? In the first case, it is a dark image. In case of dark images where the histogram is present, a histogram is present towards left. So what this left indicates? The left indicates dark intensity values on x-axis. Right indicates bright intensity values on x-axis. So let us consider an x-axis. Left side values means origin, nearer to the origin. Intensity values are darker intensity values. When we are moving towards the infinity, the intensity values will be bright intensity levels. That's why you can see the second histogram. The histogram is moving towards the right side. Why? Because it is a bright image. So almost all intensity levels will be at a brighter part. That's why histogram is moving towards the bright side. Next, coming to the low contrast image. So in case of low contrast image, the histogram is present in the middle of the x-axis, that is input. Histogram is present in the middle. Middle in the sense means we have to take the gray level, the range 0 to L minus 1. That is the range we have. So for a dark image, the histogram is towards 0. For a bright image, the histogram is towards L minus 1. For the case of low contrast image, the histogram is in between 0 and L minus 1 range. Coming to the high contrast image, for a high contrast image, a histogram will be spread over the entire range of the image. Entire range of the image grayscale. Entire range of the image grayscale is nothing but 0 to L minus 1. So here the histogram is spread over the entire range of the interval 0 to L minus 1 of the image. That 0 to L minus 1 of the image is nothing but a grayscale. Okay. So for a dark image, the histogram is present on the left side of grayscale. For a bright image, histogram is present on the right side of grayscale. For a low contrast image, histogram is present in the middle of the grayscale. For the high contrast image, the histogram is present or it is spread over the entire range of the grayscale. Here the grayscale range is 0 to L minus 1 for an image. Now, coming to the histogram equalization. Here, after normalization of the histogram, we need to perform the histogram equalization. What is the necessity of the histogram equalization? Here, in an image, the pixels will occur. How these pixels will occur? Randomly, the pixels will occur. For that randomly occurring pixels, the probability density function will be in nonlinear form. So because of that non-linearity, the clarity, that means the brightness is not distributed equally on the entire image. So what we have to do, we have to make them uniform. So equalization is that nothing but making the entire image uniform. That means we are converting the non-uniform probability density function of the image into uniform probability density function of the image. Okay, so histogram equalization is an approach to enhance the given image. The approach is designed to transform T dot such that the gray level values in the output is uniformly distributed in 0 to L minus 1. Let us assume that the input has gray level value R with R equal to 0 represent black and R equal to L minus 1 represent white. Now consider S equal to T of R within the range 0 to L minus 1. Assuming that the transformation function T of R satisfies the following two conditions. T of R is a singular valued monotonically increasing in the interval 0 to 1 and 0 less than or equal to T of R less than or equal to 1 for 0 less than or equal to R less than or equal to 1. Now here is a transformation curve, and the first transformation curve is a monotonically increasing function showing the how the multiple values can be mapped into a single value. Here you can see multiple values on the x-axis are mapped into a single value of y-axis, that is SQ. Okay, so it is one type of transformation curve. Okay, monotonically increasing transformation curve. And second transformation curve will be T of R, and it is strictly monotonic increasing function. There is a one-to-one corresponding. Rk is mapped into Sk. L minus 1 is mapped into L minus 1 only. So the inverse transform forms S back to R is done. So R equal to T inverse of S. Here you can see these are the main equations to make the non-uniform probability density function into a uniform probability density. Consider gray level value in the input image and output image as a random variables in the interval 0 to L minus 1. The fundamental descriptor of a random variable is its probability density function. So PR of R is the probability density function of the input intensity levels, and PS of S is the probability density function of the output intensity levels. Okay, so denotes PDF of R and S respectively. So this is the relationship we have from the previous workouts. So that is output probability density function is equal to input probability density function into dr by ds. Okay, dr by differentiation. So the differentiation of R divided by differentiation of S, dr by ds. Okay, the transformation function of a particular importance in the image process. In the image processing has the form S equal to T of R, and which is equal to L minus 1 into integral 0 to R PR of W into dW. Here W is the dummy variable which is used for the purpose of integration here in this equation. Differentiating with respect to R, so ds by dr. So why we are making all these manipulations means to get the value of dr by ds. So here actual formula is PS of S equal to PR of R into dr dr by ds. So we are going to derive the value of dr by ds here. So once we derived after substitution, if we see the probability density function of ps of s, that is the output probability density function, is made as a 1 by l minus 1 within the interval 0 less than equal to s less than equal to l minus 1. That means what is this 1 by l minus 1? 1 by l minus 1 indicates a uniform probability density function. So non-uniform probability density function can be converted into a uniform probability density function if we perform this histogram equalization. Once if you perform the histogram equalization, so what will happen? The quality of the image will enhance. Okay. Next, in discrete case also we can perform the histogram equalization. So this is the equation for performing the histogram equalization in discrete case. Sk equal to T of Rk L minus 1 into summation j equal to 0 to k PR of Rj which is equal to L minus 1 by Mn and summation j equal to 0 to k Nj, where k equal to 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on L minus 1. The transform T of Rk is called histogram equalization or histogram near normalization. Here next one is histogram specification. So histogram equalization automatically determines the transformation function producing the uniform histogram. When automatic enhancement is desired, equalization is not a good approach. So there are some applications in which attempting to be based enhancement on the uniform histogram is not the best approach. So in particularly, it is useful sometimes to be able to specify the shape of the histogram that we wish to that we wish the processed image to have. So okay, instead of reading all these sentences, I will give you the real information. What is this histogram specification? Histogram specification is also called as a histogram matching. So that means generally for a given input image, we will calculate the histogram. But here in the case is different. We are assuming that our output image should have this histogram, and we are going to matching that histogram to the output image. That is histogram matching. So generally we will create a histogram, but we are assuming the histogram to be, we are assuming the histogram for our processed image to have. So after performing the output image, our output image we are creating based on the histogram. So we will assume the histogram of an output image initially. According to that histogram, we will create the output image. That is called histogram specification or histogram matching. The method used to generate the processed image that has a specified histogram is called histogram matching or histogram specification. Means generally we have an input image. For that we can create histogram. We need to process the image so that we will get a processed image. After getting the processed image, we will get the histogram of the processed image. But here in histogram matching, we will define the histogram initially. According to that histogram, we are going to get the processed image. So processed image we are going to get by specifying the histogram of the processed image directly. That is called histogram matching. Next, coming to the histogram processing, there is a two different types of processing. One is a local histogram processing, and second one is global histogram processing. Histogram processing methods we have discussed earlier, that is histogram equalization and histogram specification. All those are comes under the global histogram processing, in the sense that the pixels are modified by the transformation function based on the intensity distribution of the entire image. So we are calculating the histogram of an entire image at a time. That is called global histogram processing. There are some cases in which it is necessary to enhance the details over small areas in the image. This procedure is to define the neighborhood, and we are moving the neighborhood from one pixel to another pixel, so that the pixel is matched with the center of the neighborhood. At each location, the histogram of the points in the neighborhood is computed, and either histogram equalization or histogram specification transformation function is obtained from the neighborhood. Okay, so what you have to understand from the local histogram processing, instead of getting the histogram of an entire image, we are taking a small neighborhood in the image. For that, we are computing the histogram. So we are moving the neighborhood from one point to another point. Again, we are calculating the histogram. Okay, and all histograms we are grouping together to get the total histogram. That is the procedure we followed in the local histogram processing. So next, map the intensity of the pixels centered in the neighborhood. Center of the neighborhood region is moved to an adjacent pixel location, and the procedure is repeated. This approach has obvious advantage over repeated computing of histogram of all pixels in the neighborhood region. Each time the region is moving from one pixel location to the another pixel location. Another approach used sometimes to reduce the computations in the utilize non-overlapping regions, but this method is usually produces undesirable blocky effect. Okay. So for every histogram, we have some statistics. So we have a statistics for the histogram, and the statistics for the histogram are moments. So we have a nth moment. This is the definition of nth moment. Mu n equal to summation I equal to 0 to L minus 1 Ri minus m whole power n into P of Ri. And mean value small m equal to summation I equal to 0 to L minus 1 Ri into P of Ri. So these are the some of the histogram statistics. Similarly, second moment mu2 summation I equal to 0 to L minus 1 Ri minus m whole square into P of Ri. So mean value is a measure of average intensity. Variance is the measure of contrast in the image. This sample mean value, that means for a discrete image, the sample mean value will be defined as small m equal to 1 by mn summation x equal to 0 to m minus 1 summation y equal to 0 to m minus 1 f of x comma y. Similarly, the sample variance sigma square equal to 1 by mn summation x equal to 0 to m minus 1 summation y equal to 0 to n minus 1 f of x comma y minus m whole square. So these are the some of the histogram statistics. Here we have local histogram processing. Similarly, global histogram processing. For local enhancement purpose, we have some local enhancement statistics of a histogram. The local enhancement are MSXY. That means the mean value which is present in the neighborhood SXY. Similarly, variance. You can also compute the variance of a neighborhood. Okay. So SXY that indicates is the neighborhood. So in the last equation we have small mistake. It is sigma square SXY. Okay. So these are the two formulas we have. MSXY mean value of a neighborhood. Okay. Similarly, variance sigma SXY square variance of a neighborhood. So till now we discussed about histogram processing. Histogram is a very important topic. So in the next class we will discuss about the fundamentals of spatial filtering and how to perform the spatial filtering operations. We will try to examine the different types of masks which are present in the spatial filtering. So these are the masks which we are using in the spatial domain. Correlation and convolution. And then how to generate a spatial mask and how to perform the smoothing. There are some smoothing filters. So these are the filters we have. So in the next class, we will try to discuss about all these filters. Linear smoothing spatial filters are there, and some non-linear smoothing spatial filters are there. So in the next class, we will try to discuss about all these types of filters. Thank you.